Good afternoon, and this is The Pulse. This is on the JoyNews channel, also live on myjoyonline.com. This afternoon, The Pulse will take a look, or we actually focus on Ghana's COVID-19 dashboard and the situation as we have it. On Christmas Eve alone, as many as 1,264 people in Ghana had COVID. What really could be accounting for it, in spite of the numerous measures that were put in place by the Ghana Health Service and the COVID-19 Management Task Force? What exactly could be accounting for the situation? We'll take a look at it. 3 people, unfortunately, have not survived this. Already, there are calls for some localized lockdown. Is it the right time for it? We'll take a look at that and more here on the special edition of The Pulse here on the JoyNews channel. It's a good time to also join us on all our social media platforms with the hashtag The Pulse. Remember, The Pulse, as always, is brought to you by Dignilu. Is your affordable and the best way when it comes to sanitation. And also, we are live on the DSTV channel 421, GoTV 144. Please stay with me here on The Pulse. We're right back with all the details. Many thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse, and welcome back. I am Emefa Apau. Let's get into the details. And this afternoon is a worrying situation about Ghana's COVID-19. On the eve of Christmas alone, as I was telling you, as many as 1,264 people in Ghana caught SARS-CoV-2, that virus which causes COVID-19. 3 others could not survive it and died. That's the current situation as the virus continues its spread through the country in the 4th wave, which we are told is officially with us. Experts are warning many more people will catch the virus in the coming days and weeks. Director of Public Health at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Franklin Asiedu-Bekwin, says the new strain, which is the Omicron, may be driving the current wave. He spoke to me earlier.
Clearly, you can see that there's a perpendicular rise in cases. So if in terms of nomenclature, then we are in it. I mean, if you look at the shape of the curve, we are now a different shape than we have 2 or 3 weeks ago. I remember speaking that, you see, what we are experiencing now is better than last year. The difference is that now we have vaccines. Last year, we didn't have any vaccine. So if you push our vaccine coverages up, though we may have increasing cases, the severity will be low and there will be less death. And I think that's what we need to focus our attention on. We make sure that we get vaccination numbers very high. People will be infected, but there will be less severity.
So that's Dr. Franklin Asiedu-Bekwin there speaking earlier. So I spoke earlier also to the head of our health desk, Fred Smith, on the regional situation. He will also join us, but let's take a look at what the situation is.
That's where we have majority of our cases. In fact, in the latest updates released by the Ghana Health Service, that's where about more than 90% of the cases are. It's followed closely by, well, not closely, it's followed by the Ashanti region, where you can see the map a bit faded.
Yeah.
That's Ashanti region. And then the greener it is, the less cases you have. As we speak, we have only 1 region without case. All the 15 regions have case, except the Northeast region. In fact, since the outbreak, Northeast has been the region with the least number of cases, less than 300 cases since March 2020. And as we speak, they have no active case. It could be that the people practice the protocols to the best of their abilities, maybe some other reasons.
Okay, so that's head of our health desk, Fred Smith. Well, there are more developing issues, so we need him live on this situation because he's been monitoring our current situation and the dashboard. Fred, so briefly, I know we've been talking about the breakdown as it stands now. More worrying is the numbers that we've recorded on Christmas Eve alone and the deaths that we've also seen, 3 of them. 1 is still enough to be worried about it. Fred, walk us through the current situation as we have it. Hello, Fred.
As you can see, we are over 8,500 cases, active cases so far, and that was that's like 3 times the increase since the last week. As many as 22 people have also died in the last 1 week alone. So that's very worrying for us. we are seeing a situation where the Greater Accra region, especially the center of Accra, having a number of people contracting the virus. In fact, more than 90% of our current cases are located in the Greater Accra region. And as you saw in that map there, it's followed by the Ashanti region, and then the other regions follow. So far, MFR, we have all the regions in Ghana having cases, with the exception of the Northeast region, which we will be discussing a bit later.
I'm interested in knowing why the Northeast region has not recorded any case. But you've been interacting with health experts and analysts on this particular New Year's Eve record as we have it, bringing our active cases toward 8,000 as it stands. What indications have they given you in terms of activities that could have led to where we are?
Well, on the eve of Christmas, you know, a lot of people keep awake. Some decide to go to the pubs, other drinking bars, games, meeting with family members, and so on. All of these activities are those that will help the virus to move from one person to the other. It is the mode of spread, making contact with other people, especially if you are not wearing the mask or you're not observing the protocols. And so these are the reasons why we may have had such a huge number of cases on the eve of Christmas, MFA.
Okay, well, but how about the impact of this on our healthcare delivery system? What have they been saying? Do we have it under control, they'll say?
Well, as we speak, we have only 17 people whose case is severe. That's just 17. Previously, we had very high numbers in the region of 70s. But it's gone down. In fact, the number of persons whose situation is critical is gone to 0 as we speak. But we continue to have people dying. On a daily basis, we have 2 or 3 dying per the reports sent by the Ghana Health Service. So yes, we're not seeing a huge impact in terms of a lot of people at the hospitals burdening the health system, but we are also getting people who are dying, so we need to be concerned.
Okay, well, so that's the situation. But you were mentioning earlier that we'll take a look at the Northeast region and how come they do not have any case as it stands now. What understanding are you getting for that?
Well, shortly we'll have the Northeast Region Director of Health joining us to explain to us what they've been doing. But from the look of things, it appears that the Northeast region is doing something that is good. We don't know exactly what it is, but something good is happening there. So far, they've had 286 cases since the outbreak in March. That is impressive. And of this number, there's no active case in that region. When we get to speak to the regional health director, I'm sure this will be made clear to us.
And I can't wait for that. Fred Smith, as always, many thanks for your company. That's the head of our health desk here at the JoyNews channel. Fred Smith, always on hand to give us the very latest when it comes to our COVID-19 situation in the country. And like he indicated, we'll be taking a look at the Northeast region in particular and what may have accounted for their low cases or no cases as it stands. So the Greater Accra region is still in the lead when it comes to COVID-19 spread, and there are already calls for some sort of localized lockdown for it. Some analysts are actually divided on that particular measure, but you've been told about what really may have accounted for the Christmas Eve surge, and we've hit our record high. And we are still peaking when it comes to the number of COVID-19 cases, largely as a result of the new strain, which is the Omicron. So it's a good time, if you're not wearing your mask, to grab it and also adhere to all the protocols. And if you have not vaccinated as of now, it's a good time to do so. So these are the curves and the indicators as we have it on your screen is our current COVID-19 situation as a country, our active cases, the number of deaths, even though pretty low. We have severe cases and then those also in critical condition, but the active cases are soaring by the day. As we stand now, it's at 8,000, over 8,000 cases. Just yesterday, we are about 7,000. But now, because of the Christmas Eve figures that have been added by the Ghana Health Service, that is where we stand now. Over 8,000 cases as a country. What could be accounting for it? Is it that we are all not taking COVID-19 seriously as a country? What could have accounted for that situation, knowing that there are a number of measures that have been put in place? It's a good time for us all to pick up our safety protocols. We pick it up once again and get to work on it when it comes to COVID-19. Once we have the all clear, we'll head to the Northeast region and speak to the Northeast Regional Health Director on what could be done or what is being done or what we can learn or all learn from the Northeast region on what exactly the situation is. That's what we are as we stand now. We need to be able to check what the Northeast region is doing and what we can all learn from it. You're still listening or watching the Pulse here on the Joy News channel, and is the COVID situation. We've been hearing from the Health Directorate, we've been hearing from a number of them on what exactly has been done. A quick turnaround here on the Pulse. When we return, we'll have more of COVID-19. Please stay with us. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Let me take you to the Ashanti region now. And what started as a love proposal led to a bloody fight on Boxing Day, leading to the death of one person at Jase, close to Konongo, the Ashanti region. Eyewitnesses allege the suspect, Pius Osei-Kankam, stabbed 27-year-old Kwame Bachman to death in a confrontation over why the deceased proposed to his girlfriend. The two were part of a number of merrymakers on Boxing Day drinking spree at a local drinking spot. Well, for the rest of the story, Love FM's Erastus Asare-Donko has more.
A Christmas celebration here at Jase turned bloody on Boxing Day. Residents say a fight broke out between the deceased and the suspect after the latter allegedly proposed to his girlfriend.
They fought because of the girl. The suspect doesn't hail from here. He lives at Praso, the next town. He came here with the intention of killing him. That's why he had a knife on him. Bachman proposed to his girlfriend. So yesterday, the girl identified him to the suspect, and that triggered the fight.
So it was a bloody Boxing Day here at Jase, close to Konongo, in the Ashanti region. Now, this is a popular spot where the indigents of Jase come to chill out and to have fun. In fact, this is where they arrange chairs and serve drinks from this pub, Success Pub. And so we understand that the whole food was about a girl. The deceased had proposed to her, and this infuriated the suspect, we are told, and so he confronted the deceased and a fight broke out.
Father of the deceased, Kofi Mensah, is distraught. We were home when I was told that my son has been stabbed. When I came, he had been rushed to the hospital. He was pronounced dead. I've been crying the whole night.
The Konongo police have arrested the suspect and picked up his girlfriend to assist in investigations. And so currently, as we speak, police have arrested the suspect together with the girl in question, and they are assisting in investigations. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asare-Donko, Jase, close to Konongo, in the Ashanti region.
So that's the situation from Jase there, as my colleague Erastus Asare-Donko reports. Rather worrying situation. We're here to also hear the latest from the police on this. Erastus is following up, as when we get more, we'll bring it to you. But let me take you to Takoradi now, and the police has charged 3 students in Sekendi with robbery and murder for burning to death of a Bolt driver who was also a Navy officer at Sekendi, Bakano, in the Western region. Well, the three students, Patrick Bedu, 18 years old, Joseph Lord Ni Ajay Oniku, 17, and Adolf Ishen, also 18, confessed to attempting to steal the deceased's vehicle. But when he resisted, the students poured fuel on his vehicle and bent him to death. DSP Olivia Adiko is PRO for the Western Region Police Command. She's been confirming the incident to JoyNews.
On 24th, around 5 p.m., our officers from our regional intelligence and operational unit were able to track and arrest 3 persons by name Patrick Bedu, he is age 18 years. Joseph Lord Ni Ajay Oniku, he is age 17 years. And Adolf Ishen, 18. They are all students in secondary Takoradi here. When they were arrested, they confessed that they were the people who set AB1 Otri's car ablaze. According to them, they wanted to steal the vehicle and sell it. But when they asked him to hand over the car, he was resistant. As a result, they poured fuel on him and set him ablaze. Unfortunately, the AB1 Otri has passed on. But so once a crime has been committed, we still have to continue with the investigation. They are currently in our custody and they will be sent to court tomorrow.
Has any charges been leveled against them as of now?
Yeah, definitely, to be robbery and murder.
That's DSP Olivia Adiko, rather disturbing situation there from the Sekendi area, and these students have since been charged on it. In Natalia Kwanza, our Western Regional correspondent, has been following up on that, but she'll join us shortly with further details on it. Well, so as we wait for that to happen, let me take you back to our earlier story, which was on the COVID-19 situation. And as it stands now, the Christmas Eve story that I've been telling you about, and then also the Northeast situation. But my colleague, Erastus Asaridonko, has been following up on this particular story, and Ohiming Terrier as well. He's joined me on the phone. Ohiming Terrier joins us on the line with further details on this latest development. Ohiming, what's the situation as we speak when it comes to COVID-19?
Thank you, MFA. The situation is not pleasant at all because for the last 1 week or so, the period between 20th and 26th December has seen the Ashanti region recording 559 newly confirmed COVID-19 cases in the region.
Hello, Ohiming. So you have my colleague Ohiming Terrier bringing us up to speed on the COVID-19 situation in the Ashanti region in particular. We know it's the second highest. It's leading after the Greater Accra region when it comes to COVID-19 in the country. As it stands now, the Regional Security Council in the Greater Accra region are putting measures, including a total shutdown of beaches. We know that there's a pushback for that particular directive, but the regional minister is unrelenting in that regard, hoping to flatten the curve when it comes to COVID-19 in the Greater Accra region. But in the Ashanti region, Ohiming Terrier is just bringing us up to speed on what exactly the interventions are when it comes to COVID-19 and the numbers that have been recorded there. And Ohiming Terrier joins us back on the line. We lost you momentarily, Ohiming. So you are giving me updates in terms of the figures that have been recorded in the region. Hello, Ohiming.
Hello, MFA.
Perfect. I can hear you now. So please walk us through it as you were telling us earlier.
Yes, as I said earlier, if you look at the situation between...
Okay, so it appears I've lost Ohiming again. Ohiming, can you hear me? Okay. Please bear with me. I just lost a Hemming Terrier. We're dealing with machines, and it happens sometimes. I'm sure they want to go on holiday as well, but we have to still continue and bring you all the updates on it. So we'll rework the lines once again and bring back my colleague on Hemming Terrier. I'm very interested in the situation in the Ashanti region because we have a number of revelers also there, and there's a total disregard in some cases for the COVID-19 protocols. But it's time to make some small business and make some small money. So I would take a quick break on that when it comes to COVID, and we'll definitely return to COVID-19 and the developing situation as we have it in parts of the country. We've also heard health analysts and experts raise concerns about the measures and adherence to safety protocols in the country, the wearing of face masks, social distancing, and especially vaccination. We've had people who are still hesitant when it comes to COVID-19. They are hoping that we'll get 10 million people vaccinated by close of this year. So we'll definitely come back to it. But business magnate Daniel Macaulay is set to open his commercial private jet service from Kotoka International Airport on January 16. The terminal will offer total aviation service to the public and businesses, including helipad and air medical ambulance. The services are coming up from the Magdan Aviation business. Mr. Macaulay has been explaining to Joy Business the rationale for offering the service. He'll also be talking about the employment offer, impact on the economy, the 2020 budget, and entrepreneurship with my colleague George Riafe.
So welcome to our special interview with the Executive Chairman of Magdan Group, Dr. Daniel Macaulay, getting a lot of things on development in the industry. There's something that is coming up on its sleeves in terms of this whole commercial private jet business. And how is business doing as well in terms of the group, entrepreneurship, and what is next for him after growing this big group? Chairman, thank you so much for this opportunity. How are you doing?
I'm okay, boss.
It's Christmas time, and I think for you, it's not a time spent with the family, but still running around getting things done.
Well, actually, I'm spending time with the family. I mean, this Christmas, I decided to bless people who are least expected. I mean, I've picked over 90 people that I'm going to their homes directly to bless them. No announcement, nothing. You see me at your door and bless you for the Christmas. That's what myself and my family we are doing for this Christmas.
What else is it the way COVID has impacted on people, or is another way for you is about giving back to the society in terms of the support, the encouragement, the belief in the Magdan dream?
It had nothing to do with COVID. It had nothing to do with the Magdan dream. It had nothing. It's the natural me. People need to celebrate Christmas. Somebody needs just a bag of rice. Somebody needs just a chicken to celebrate the Christmas. So this trip, I want to take it to a quiet level.
I see.
I normally spend my Christmas with the street children.
Yeah, you do.
But this trip, I want to pick some few people to go to their homes and bless them.
Interesting episode. But let's move to another very important thing that you are adding to the group in terms of the companies and this executive private jet wing at the Kotoka International Airport. Yeah. I mean, I have been around, I've seen the place, such a beautiful place, of course. First, I just want, and I know you had private engagement with me on this, but what is the rationale behind this thing? I mean, after all, if I want to travel, I can just walk to the commercial block, do that. If a Jay-Z wants to come to town, they have their own private jet. But what is influencing this for you to have this commercial wing in terms of the private jet to offer this commercial services?
Well, Ghana is really opening up. Ghana is really opening up, and I believe that this is very important. You go to other places, you will understand what is going to happen here. We are taking this to another level. Traveling in Africa, traveling to certain places for businessmen, business executives, are very difficult, very expensive. hence the need to open up this. You know, McDonald, we're always looking at opportunities. And these are big opportunities for the sub-region and for the whole Africa continent as a whole. So it's another level. I mean, that is what we're doing here. That's what you are seeing here right now.
I've seen in a normal airport, they will talk about the capacity of passengers. I stand to be educated when it comes to this whole private jet business and how things are going. I've seen the lounge here, the presidential suite and all those things. So walk me through, let me understand, in terms of capacity-wise, in terms of the layman's understanding, this lounge, what would be the capacity if I can get that layman's understanding of it? Maybe I'm asking the wrong question in terms of getting the perspective.
That's perfectly the right question. You know, when we talk about private jet terminal, it's an FBO, fixed base operation. And this is where you can walk in as a private person and pick a flight and go anywhere you want to go.
So, Chairman, hold on. George Yafe, if I have the money, I can walk in, make an arrangement for a private jet and fly on the private jet.
Off you go.
Interesting.
Off you go. I mean, it's that easy. You can sit at the comfort of your home, pick a call and say, okay, I want to go to Brazzaville. A Maybach will come to your house and pick you. You get here 5 minutes, you're gone.
You said the Maybach. Okay, sorry, go ahead. So it's a whole suite of service provision in terms of when you sign up to this whole private thing. Sorry, yes, you explained to me, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. We'll come and pick you up, off you go. All arrangement is made. Even in Brazzaville, who to receive you, how to receive you, hotels, all will be booked from here for you, if you so wish. We're making it very, very comfortable for businesses across the world. I mean, anybody can walk in here. We don't have limitation of where to go.
Interesting. So in terms of, you're talking about anybody can walk in. How competitively priced is this whole private commercial business? Is that a certain George Yafe, who is an average businessman, can apply for your service?
Well, this is not for boys anyway. It's for men.
Okay.
I mean, when I mean men, this is for businessmen.
Okay.
But if you have some good money, and you can come in. George Yafe, maybe you are signing $1 billion loan and across the continent.
In Angola, somewhere.
In Angola, somewhere, coming through here to fly for a couple of thousands of dollars, worth it. Meanwhile, if you are living here to Angola, you have to go to France.
Or in Portugal or something.
Or Portugal, before you come to Angola. Yet you can just fly from here straight to Angola, 2-3 hours, you are there. Close your deal and the flight will wait for you. Close your deal and you're back to Ghana. Yeah, it's that simple.
In terms of the jets that you're offering, so is it going to be a 1 commercial jet, 2 commercial jets, or 3 commercial jets, or a lot of commercial jets that will be, private jet that will be available to offer this service offering?
Well, the terminal will own its own jets. And we bring in the Bombardier, the Challenger, which take from 9 to 12 passengers.
I see.
We bring in the BB jet, Boeing, where for presidents and a good number of people, where you have your shower, your cafeteria, if you have your entourage, 12 or 15 people can travel with you in another compartment where you have your bed, you can sleep, your bedroom and all that. We bring in that one too. We bring in a helicopter here to be doing most of the movement when it comes to, how do we call it? When it comes to movement of bullions, when it comes to movement of cash, we're doing a tourism. The heli can, anywhere you want to go in Ghana, you can walk in here, the heli can take you. We'll be doing air ambulance also here. Every private jet coming into Ghana had to pass through this terminal.
I see. You are explaining something to me about the helipad business as well. So this is not just a private commercial jet that is traveling outside, but even internally as well. You're offering a product that can do internal tourism as well.
We're bringing a helicopter who you can hire to take you anywhere you want to go within Ghana. Yes, I mean, if you want to take it as commercial tourism, whatever, you want to look into the city of Accra, you can come here and fly through here.
How convenient will this private commercial jets be in terms of the ease of flying people around? Because you've said earlier on, and traveling through Africa myself, several times I had to fly to France, come back, fly to London and come back. How convenient are these private commercial services that you're offering that anyone who wants to move within the continent and even across should come to you?
The few people who would come through here to have a taste of what we have here can attest to that fact. And it's so convenient. I mean, you just walk in and just walk out. It's that easy. All the work will be done by us, both from here and over there. We have all the setup here, security. We have the security here, AFSEC, Civil Aviation, COVID Center is here. We have the Ghana Health Service, Immigration Service, Customs. Everybody is here. So that is how easy it is. Wherever you go in, all you need to do, just mention the place and drop your check. That's it.
And that is it. I mean, I talking to you, I get from you that it's not just about the exclusive commercial private jets as well, but there is something internally that you are offering in terms of domestic travels as well. What is also the rationale behind in terms of promoting tourism internally? Because even, I mean, I remember today a friend was asking me that, George, I wish I have a private helicopter I can take to do some rounds. And he's a businessman, and he was just thinking about whether he should apply to the military for that service to be offered to him as well. What is also the rationale behind it that you're offering these heli business as well to move people internally as well?
There is a need for it. You know, we solve problems. McDonald, what we do is we find solution to problems, and we try to scale up in whatever we do. We love challenges where we fly where people can't fly. We fly where it's a bit difficult, but we make it simple. Me as a leader, leading my people, I always try to make sure that nothing is difficult. When you come to my territory or where I deal with the word I cannot,
it's not there.
It's not there. I cannot, it's not there. And we need to forge ahead. This is a necessity. A lot of things we see as luxury is really not luxury. This is a real necessity. I mean, if you want to drive from here to a place like Ada, it takes you not less than 2 hours with traffic. 20 minutes by the heli, you are there. You want to go to Cape Coast, Takoradi, the north. I mean, these are some of the solutions we're finding to serious businesses. That is why we are adding air ambulance for evacuation. If there are accidents somewhere, the heli can just move and solve that problem quickly. A businessman, people come in, they want to see the city. They want to move to other places. They can easily walk in here and we make that service available for them.
So, I mean, some would say that all other things being equal, when are we hoping that this lounge will be opened formally to commercial business?
The next month. We are opening next month.
January?
You will be invited.
I mean, so what date are we looking at here?
We're looking at the 26th.
Of January?
26th of January. It was supposed to be 6, but there's too many activities in town. So we'll move it to 26th of January.
When the service is opened, what will be the number of fleets that will be available for this commercial offering?
We have 3 jets available and 1 heli. So straight up, we're starting with 3 jets. Right, excluding my private jet.
This has to do with the whole connection of partners on the continent as well.
Yeah.
Are all those networks as well in place as we speak right now?
Yeah, we're working on it because you see, this is what opened up a country. What we are going to do here will definitely open up a country. We have a lot of businesses going on, the mining companies, the banks, trading, a lot of business going on. And you see, with the commencement of AFTA, this is where all the businessmen, you live in here to close a business anywhere in Africa, this is where to go. Even you go to Senegal, you have to go to France. You go into Equatorial Guinea, you have to drive from here to Togo. He's traveling in Africa, even Gambia, Gabon, Conakry. Just mention them. Cameroon, where do you fly from?
It's a hell.
It's a hell. So that is the solution that we are providing here. There's a lot of business executives who will come on the ticket of AFTA, who will fly out of the ticket of the continental free trade. And this is the solution for them.
Let's look at security-wise as well. What measures have you put in place, of course, in the era of terrorism, in the era of people trying to use these private jets for all sort of means as well? What measures have you put in place to ensure that when it comes to first-class security with the aviation officials and the ground officials, everything is closed on that one?
Yeah, we have the SOP. We just completed the SOPs, the rules of engagement. And this is not a business you have to joke with. I mean, security is everything. So we have left the security in the hands of the experts. Aviation are putting down anything that is needed. Ghana Airport Company had also done all their due diligence. And the flights we are using are international. They fly everywhere. Hardly before you can have a flight that goes anywhere in the world.
Yeah. And that is what this will be doing, actually.
That is what this will be doing.
They have the capacity to fly to everywhere.
Anywhere in the world. Anywhere, any country in the world. I mean, that is what we are doing. This is an international FBO.
So all these security clearances are being done, and every private person is assured that in terms of international class security, you are assured.
Exactly. I just flew one of the planes to Dubai, Kuwait, Oman.
They can do these long hauls. These are more than 5 hours flight, right?
Yes.
These are long haul flights.
The shortest distance of any of the plane is 9 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. These are double engine aircraft.
I see.
Jets.
I see. For you, one would ask that, I mean, you're a businessman, of course, but what do you want to achieve? Is it building a group, the prestige, or providing a need in society? Because if you've traveled around the world, and the little experience I've had myself, it's a real challenge that for even a businessman who can afford a first-class ticket of even $10,000, $20,000, they have to struggle around hopping from one terminal to the other, delays in flight cancellation, whether a passenger is delayed, and they need to close a deal that is worth about $10 million, $50 million, $100 million, a $300 million deal. And a ticket price of $10,000 is delaying him so much.
George, I want to make money.
So that is first.
I want to make
Okay, fine. What is next?
I want to make money. I want to create impact. You see, after making money, you create impact. You can never create much impact unless you want to be a very good musician or you want to sell ice cream. You create a lot of impacts on the people who want to enjoy your ice cream. But I want to make money and create serious impact in this world, in this country. So that is exactly what I am doing. And we always look at the terrain. Ghana is a good place to be. Ghana is a place to do good business. Ghana is a very fertile ground, just that the complaints are too many. We will not be able to satisfy, you can't satisfy everybody.
But isn't that justified when people feel that they are not getting what they have to get? They deserve to complain.
You deserve to complain, but when do you complain to? I'm a businessman. I grew up on the streets, right? I have never reneged in doing something for myself. And I'm still struggling to make sure that I become the best in whichever industry I find myself. I work hard. Till today, I still sleep 4 hours a day. I can't sleep more than 4 hours, at times 2 hours. I'm still working. I'm still breaking my back. No? But this is where to be. You step on the street, you see a lot of foreigners. What do they want here? They are making it. So should we sit here and complain? We can't complain. You know? So all we need is a good environment to do business. All we need is unhealthy, both the internal and the external environment to do business and change lives. That's it.
And that is the motivation.
That's my motivation.
The airline business is something else. Let's talk about employment as well. Are you going to import these expatriates to come in and work, or you are offering a lot of Ghanaians down here an opportunity to be in this new space that we are seeing in Ghana in terms of private commercial jet business?
Well, yes. I'm just bringing one person from outside. I just brought in a guy from France, the one who manages the Dubai private jet terminal. He's the one coming to manage here. He's now in Strasbourg. So I pushed him here to come and train the locals how to manage the FBO, how to manage the terminal. And he understands everything. The rest are all locals, except some of my pilots. Even pilots, I'm trying to get some local pilots, but currently 4 of my pilots are Germans.
That's McDan there, CEO of the McDan Aviation this time, and interacting there with my colleague George Riafe. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. The full interview will be aired later on at 5 p.m. on the Business Live right here on the JoyNews channel, also myjoyonline.com. Let's take a quick break here on The Pulse. We're right back with more. Please stay with me. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Now, President of the Ghana Charismatic and Pentecostal Council, Reverend Professor Paul Frimpong Manso, has welcomed the latest statement from the police, that's the Ghana Police Service, warning that pastors and other religious leaders have been warned against prophecies that are likely to cause fear and panic and also disturb public peace. So ahead of church services usually held to mark the end of the year and to usher in a new year, which is the watch night services, various religious leaders, especially pastors, announced prophecies, sometime declaring the death of persons publicly. The police say while freedom of religion is guaranteed under the 1992 Constitution, the communication of prophecies of harm, danger, doom, and even death by some religious leaders can cause tension in society. Speaking to JoyNews, Reverend Paul Frimpong Manso lauded the police for their proactiveness on this particular issue. We can hear from him.
I think when we talk about policing, we are talking about peace, safety, and security of the populace. So if there's anything that will bring peace, safety, and security, then they should be on board. And it's good that they have been proactive to some of these things. On the other hand, our Constitution guarantees freedom of religion and freedom of association, but our freedom should be within the framework of the Constitution. One's freedom should not also affect another person's freedom or safety and security. Well, as a Christian and a Bible preacher, I believe in prophecy. That is God speaking to his people now. I also believe in predictive prophecy, that God speaking into the future. And some prophets, whether we like it or not, will make some of us uncomfortable. Some will give us comfort. To me, prophecy is not wrong, but how we deliver it, the fears and the threats that are associated with. So the police statement, I read one line which gave me some form of consolation, that they are not against prophecy, they are not opposed to it. But if you follow the last few years, most of the prophecies that come, especially at the 31st December, is about who will die. Police is trying to say is that we should be cautious, we should be ethical, we should handle some of these things well.
So he also raises concerns about these prophecies of doom, and have asked pastors to be circumspect in their prophetic pronouncements.
Well, we have already met them, I think, some few months ago when the IGP took office. He invited all the faith leaders and we had a chat. The challenge was that those people who actually give these prophecies were not part of the meeting, and that was the problem. And so I remember people saying that the police are banning prophecy. That was never the case. But they were telling us how we should cooperate with them to bring peace in the nation. You see somebody kicking against a pregnant woman in the church. It was abnormal. These are some of the excesses the police were guiding us. They were advising us that we should be careful and exercise restraint in whatever we do. I think at the moment they haven't engaged with us again, but I have read their piece. But what gave me consolation is that they are not against prophecies, one of the bullet points. And so I think they are not going to witch hunt prophets. But then if you also go over the board, I don't think you will go scot-free, because many times the Bible even tells us that when prophets prophesy and the prophecy doesn't come true, the person should be stoned. So if there should be some kind of things that will bring sanity in the prophetic ministry.
So meanwhile, a legal practitioner and head of Pencil & Co., Kweku Pencil, has described the statement from the police as strange and not enforceable.
I really have my doubt if there is a proper legal basis for the police statement. I can see the police statement as any statement, any advice that any public interested body may wish to convey to the citizens or to people of this country. It's like anybody advising a pickpocket that around Christmas there's a lot of pickpocketing and we are even more alert than ordinary times, and if you engage in pickpocketing, this is what we do. But the difficulty about the police statement, as I find it, is generally about the difficulty about enforcing speech, what to say, what not to say. Don't forget that we not only criminal aspect of it, we also have the civil aspect of freedom of speech. So my freedom to speak will not permit me to, for instance, defame you. The difficulty is whether a court of law, for instance, can make an order directed to me not to defame you. There can be no such power of the court. But as soon as I defame the person, the course of action arises. In the same way with prophecies, indeed, dealing with these ones, we are even getting into spiritual matters. And the whole idea of what somebody is likely to say to find himself liable in criminal conviction for a statement that he has made is quite murky. That's the way I will put it. Because the idea, or what the police said, indeed, legislation exists for speech, hate speech, speeches or statements that are likely to create panic and fear and so forth and so on. But the crunch, the real issue is the ability of the police or any complainant to demonstrate that any particular speech or any particular statement that anybody made or, yes, made, created fear and panic. And that's the difficulty. It has not happened, to my knowledge, whether anybody has even been convicted in this country for any kind of speech, especially with regard to a church activity.
So that's a legal practitioner there, Kweku Pencil, on this particular statement from the Ghana Police Service, already generating a lot of talk. Let me bring in Reverend Professor Johnson Kwabena Ofosu Asamoah Jedu, I beg your pardon, Reverend Professor Johnson Kwabena Asamoah Jedu. He's the president of the Trinity Theological Seminary at Legon. We're grateful for your time here on the poll. So this particular statement from the police, some have said, is long overdue. But there's a sharp division also on this particular directive. Issues about freedom of speech have come in. But let's deal with the spiritual angle, as some will say. Can we really control the spirit as and when it directs for a prophecy to be made public?
Well, thank you very much. and I greet you and your listeners. I think for me, the saddest part of this whole drama is the fact that we have come to a point where it is the police that is telling pastors how to behave. I thought that by the nature of religion generally and Christianity in particular, decency, a high moral temper, and things like that are part of our Christian calling, especially for pastors. So if we come to a point where it is the police that is now telling the pastors about good behavior, then there is a big problem over there. So for me, that's the saddest part of it. Now, having said that, I would join those who say that the statement is in order. I thought I heard the lawyer say this cannot hold in a court of law. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm also aware that you cannot wish death on anybody, because the people who deliver these wild prophecies sometimes are very specific. They mention particular names, and you preceded your statement by reference to the spirit. The delivery of false prophecy is not something that is new. Even in the Bible, we are warned against people who prophesy falsely. So the mere fact that somebody claims that the spirit is at work doesn't make the person a genuine prophet. And that's why even in the New Testament, we are enjoined to test all spirit. So my point is that it is in order for the police to issue this caution, so that if anybody under the guise of being a pastor or prophet or whatever names another individual and goes ahead to predict death and doom for that person, the police, I think to some extent, can take the person on for causing whether fear or panic or whatever a charge they will bring against the person. So, I mean, the fact that a thing is being said in the name of prophecy doesn't justify just making any declaration and getting away with it.
But it's interesting that you say, because most people know that at least you churn out some of these pastors, whether false or not, because they go through your hands at some point in time. It's interesting that you say they are wishing death upon somebody, because they will tell you that they are directed by the Spirit. Sometimes they have to shame that Spirit publicly for us to deal with that doom that is coming upon that person. Are we not risking as a society coming to a point where we'll have all our prophets shut up and not be able to tell us when there's doom ahead?
Well, God is not a God of confusion. So anytime these prophetic utterances are made and they are calculated to cause confusion, I think the prophet must be damned and chastised for it. That is what we have in the scriptures. You know, as to, you use the word churn, we churn out. In this seminary, we don't churn out pastors. People go through rigorous training. And I can tell you that there is nobody who will pass through our hands in this seminar of 3 years of training and take a Master of Divinity degree and go and stand in the pulpit or in a church and make the sort of declarations I hear people make in the name of prophecy. Nobody who has trained through this seminary will do that.
Okay.
So the point is, it is not our business to control the prophecies. If people think God has spoken to them, they have every right to speak. But the police also has the right to do their work if what you are doing comes under suspicion. And I don't think that we should elevate prophecy to the level where the prophet become untouchable. Otherwise, what we have is chaos. And as I have said, even in biblical times, the reason why in 1 Corinthians 14, Paul takes the time to tell us what prophecy is supposed to achieve is so that it's not abused. So the abuses have been there from biblical times. But the point is that, as I said at the beginning, the mere fact that in this country we have come to a point where it is the police that is telling Christian leaders to behave, that's where the problem is. And I think
but we have a society with people, as the Bible even says, with itchy ears. We go to church, most people go at the end of the year hoping to know what is going to happen in the next year. How then are you hoping that these men of God would now communicate the things that God has revealed to them?
Well, my response to that question is, these developments are very recent. In fact, they have come within the last 2 decades or so. How were we running our lives when these so-called prophets hadn't come about? The point is that prophecy can be used very exploitatively. People can use prophecy to exploit. Look, I have followed some of these prophecies for a while. And anybody who is a student of contemporary African Christianity will tell you that these prophets that are coming are always targeted at leaders, at political leaders, at people who they think are people of substance. And the whole idea is to cause panic in the lives of these people so that they will come to these prophets looking for help. And a lot of people have been exploited that way. I have made the study of this phenomena part of my academic journey for many, many years. And no decent prophet will prophesy in a way that will cause the sort of fear and panic we are seeing. In fact, most people who are genuinely gifted, if they have a message of that nature, would never make it public. What they make public is what is for the community that sits before them. But if the message is individualized, any sensible prophet will go to the person about whom the revelation has been received, talk to the person about it. Sometimes you are not even definitive because you are never sure what God will do. When David was caught in adultery, what did Nathan do? He didn't declare this on the rooftops. He went to the king and spoke to him. So any genuine prophet exercises discernment and wisdom. And that is what is lacking in the kind of prophet we are talking about. I see as people who may be gifted, but who must go to God and ask for wisdom and discernment to know how to use prophecy. Having a gift and knowing how to use it are two different things. You can have a fairly talented soccer player or even a striker on the field. The fact that you are gifted doesn't mean you don't need a coach. So those people who are doing that, they should go and look for mentors, prophetic mentors, to help them, to guide them to use their gift constructively and stop disturbing this country.
We don't risk, as Christians, seeking to, for those, I've heard some say that with this particular directive, it appears that we are seeking to control the spiritual affairs of this country. Is that not accurate?
It is not. Because if you make that argument, anybody can invoke the spirit to do whatever they like. And as I'm saying, even looking at it from a Christian point of view, it is the reason why Paul says the spirit of the prophet is subject to the prophet. So if the spirit of the prophet is subject to the prophet does not exercise control, then the prophet must be controlled. So if you don't want to be controlled, do the right thing and exercise your gift responsibly.
Do you get the sense that it's become more like a competition? At least on social media now, you see even the prophet themselves amongst each other, fighting themselves. Is it the case that we are getting to a point where prophetic ministry has now become a competition?
Well, that is what happens when you have charlatans parading as prophets. So the mistake we make is that we are not able even to determine who is genuine and who is false. It is only a false prophet who competes with another. Because the very definition of prophecy has to do with God speaking through the person. If God hasn't spoken and you speak out of your human imagination, what does that make you? That makes you a false prophet. And it's the people like that who compete in order that they will be seen as becoming more powerful than the other person. Nobody who is genuinely gifted as a prophet would choose that path. That I can tell you.
But they have the largest following. But they have the largest followings also in the country, unfortunately. So then, going to church, then how am I supposed to decipher and know at which point, because it's making prophetic ministry very unattractive at this point. So how do I tell apart which one is the good prophet?
The question is unattractive to who?
Because now it looks like you are not sure whether this prophecy is actually coming from God or not. Because they may say that you may get an accident, but because you think that it may be a false prophecy, you will not act on it or actually pray into it.
Diviners do the same thing. The diviners in the traditional religion do the same thing. So I would say some of these prophets have become the religious equivalent of traditional diviners. They are the ones who take pleasure in instilling fear into people. In my career as a theologian, as a teacher of this seminary, there are so many people who sit in front of me and who you can discern are very gifted, various kinds of gifts, including the prophetic. And they don't do the kinds of things that you and I are complaining about. So my point is, let's observe the benchmarks of prophecy. And what are the benchmarks of prophecy? To encourage, to strengthen, and to comfort. This is what Paul tells us. And anybody who is exercising the prophetic gift in a biblical manner will do so responsibly, knowing that if what you are communicating is not inspired by the Spirit, you are a false prophet, whether you know it or not. And of course, you talked about people with itchy ears. I think the public should also be wary of people like that who want to instill fear into you, either for your money or for your patronage. Because what I see is people using this so-called prophetic declaration at the end of the year to make themselves more important than they are. So as you talk to the cow, you talk to the mouse too. You have to be careful about people who are out to exploit you for their own personal gain.
But the likes of you, for instance, Prof, I would single you out because you had such a prestigious institution in the country. And you should be worried when such things are happening, especially in the Christendom. And there are those who perceive that you all sit and watch for this to fester. What exactly can be done beyond the police now issuing a statement about watch night? It's not just watch night, they issue such prophecies. It will come after that. Is there anything really Christendom can do about these charlatans or prophets and the prophecies that they churn out?
Well, what we can do is what we are doing. And I think I'm very much supportive of the police statement. They are not claiming that every prophet is false, or they are not stifling prophecy. All they are doing is warning against those who cause fear and panic under the guise of prophecy. And I think it's the right thing. But I said at the beginning that I'm saddened by the fact that it has taken the police to tell people who are supposed to provide Christian leadership what to do. It tells me that there's a problem. For those of us who teach theology, both here at Trinity and other institutions around the country, I think we do our best to educate our people on the right use of gifts and so on. I have myself given a number of public lectures on these matters. And one time when I had the opportunity to speak on a platform like this, I did mention that in addition to my work, I also do some pastoring. And in a particular year, I think about 2 years ago, a particular prophet in this country mentioned 3 individuals, all of them politicians, who are going to die that year. And all the members, all the 3 people that were mentioned were members of my congregation. And I had to be left with the work of doing damage control by assuring them that nothing was going to happen.
Are they still alive? Are they still alive?
Oh, they are still alive by God's grace.
Thank God.
They are still alive by God's grace. And these are very high profile personalities, And so that is what I see. That these dubious prophets target people like that who are vulnerable. If you allow me a quick example, I have a colleague who runs a pharmacy shop. Somebody walks into the pharmacy shops claiming that he has seen a family member of this pharmacist carrying a coffin, somebody is dead, because he had heard that a relation of this pharmacist was unwell. and had turned that into some kind of revelation. By the time I got into this matter, this so-called prophet had already collected 3,000 cedis to go and give to those who are going to pray to stop that thing. So I had to threaten the prophet that if he didn't return the money that day, I was going to go to the police for exploitation. And of course, he brought the money back. And I told this farmer, I says, don't fear, nothing will happen to you. So this has become some kind of a business. At the end of the year, especially in a pandemic era like this, businesses have taken a hit, personal economies have suffered, people have died. We are already vulnerable. And then you have these so-called spiritual leaders step into our vulnerability and exploit our fears and insecurities. That is what is happening. It is not everyone who is doing it. And those who think that they are being exploited, nobody stops you from changing your church. So if you think your prophet is exploiting you, please relocate yourself in a place where they would preach the word of God and encourage you rather than put fear into you.
But I was saying that most of the time, there's so much fear in some of these congregants that it's difficult for them to leave the church because the prophets or these, fake prophets will tell you that once you leave, it will not be well with you. Everything will come tumbling down. Is that the case?
Let me also say that any pastor, any church leader who curses a fellow church member is fake. There is nowhere in the Bible where we make room for a pastor or a prophet to curse somebody because they left their church. In fact, what Jesus even said was that if somebody slaps you on one cheek, turn the other. Of course, he didn't mean that literally. But that's the extent to which Christians are supposed to go to be tolerant and forgiving. And if the pastor becomes intolerant, in any case, if those people didn't leave one church, they wouldn't have landed in your church. And somebody asked me the same question, and my response was that God made us in his image. Now we want to make God into our image. Because we are wicked and wish other people evil, we think that God is also like that. God is not like that. So if a pastor curses you, it's a sign that he's not a good pastor anyway. Because in pastoral care and counseling, which is a subject we teach here, one of the things we do is to tell that from a pastoral point of view, you are called to be humane and exercise the spirit of empathy. So if for some reason an individual has left your church, what gives you the authority, the power to curse them? If everybody entered one church, are we even going to have the space? People move for one reason or another, and no decent pastor, no pastor who is correct, let me put it that way, will curse anyone simply because they have left their church. And everything that happens, there are examples in the Bible. When John the Baptist was baptizing and Jesus came along, John chapter 3, scripture says people left John and went to Jesus. And John's disciples were complaining to him. The man you baptized has come also baptizing, and people are going to him. Did John curse? He said, no. I'm just the friend of the bridegroom. He is the bridegroom. If people are going to him, let him go. And then he added one of the most powerful biblical texts on leadership. He says, he must increase and I must decrease. As pastors, we are there to promote the glory of God and not to curse people. Any pastor who curses people must be put under a question mark for his pastoral leadership. No good pastor does that.
Well, it's difficult to let you go at this point, but definitely we'll have another session with you. Reverend Prof, we are grateful for your time. That's Reverend Professor Johnson Kwabena Asamoah-Gyedu. He's president of the Trinity Theological Seminary, and he's with the police on that statement that they've issued. This has sharply divided public discourse on this particular issue when it comes to prophecies on watch night services. You've heard the Reverend Professor there, Leatherwise. here. Let me take you to the Western region now, and the Christmas celebrations there are always special for those of you who go or are able to do that. These celebrations are always filled with beach parties, musical concerts, and of course, fancy carnivals in masquerades. Ankos, as people from the West call them, these fancy clubs are a big deal, and the carnival culture has been woven into the various fabric of the society thanks to popular clubs like Ankos, Holy Cities, Valencia, Supreme, and Spain. Now, this year, not even the COVID-19 pandemic could stop the over 40 clubs, which is not good enough, from taking over the city. Correspondent Inatalia Kwanza brings us all the action right here.
Normalmente 28 in the new year, what I did, I bet 28 in the new year, the one day I hired this in the way, maybe it will be a December, the Befitadi.
This is just one of the many beautiful sounds synonymous with Christmas and New Year celebration in Sekondi, Takoradi. It is felt in every nooks and cranny, in Takoradi especially.
That time, my brother wanted to join an uncle, so he searched all over Google and he couldn't find some. So only Supreme Masqueraders responded to him, and later for years he became the CEOs.
But how does it feel to be part of them?
Fun, entertaining.
Masquerade is a beautiful thing. It makes, that is what Takoradi is known for when it comes to Christmas. So I think I joined because it's beautiful and it represents us.
People dance, move in a particular special rhythm in conformity with the sound.
It's natural, I was born with it. I'm naturally a dancer, so I was born with it. I just mix it. Okay. My steps like calculation. It's a wrong calculation. About name.
The competition is getting keen. You see, the competition is getting keen. Now we see people in Tema also coming out with Masquerade, Central Region also doing the same.
I've seen people from South Point.
Yeah. How will the Western Region maintain their bragging rights?
You know, we started it. So at the end of the day, we hold all the rights. It's like having a business and other people buying the franchise. At the end of the day, who is the real businessman? It's the person that initiated the business. It's a true time I'm going to talk about it. And then didn't well, actually, I don't look at that.
What should we expect from you this year?
And that
today.
Right there, Shampabuano. Yes. Actually, I have a son of Bokodo. Like, okay then, you can do it.
They are usually dressed in a particular sewn uniforms and faces covered, hands covered with white gloves with very flat white canvas and white socks to match with a bodia. You can call them masquerades, but we prefer fancy dress, and for those enlightened, anchors for the street ladders. For decades, they have lit the Yuletide in Takoradi with their tunes, dance moves, attire, groups, marks, and the intriguing A1.
Oh, I'm not scared because I've learned it and I know it. So whenever I'm doing it, whether in the gravels or maybe on the roadside, anyway, can do it and do it better.
But some people do it and then they injure. Is there a case?
Oh, that thing is experience. If you want to do any style, then if the style, maybe the style that you want to do, if you can't do it and do it well, you have to stop and start it again. It's like you are writing. Then what you are writing, like it seems you are wrong. So you have to clean it or change it again and start it.
The famous Masquerade in Sekondi Takoradi fever, which ends and begins every year, has been in existence for over 50 years. It has its roots from the popular Efutu Winneba fancy dress.
Masquerade originated in Winneba, but I'm telling you, Western region is doing it better. Sekondi Takoradi is doing it better. And nobody should dispute the fact that we are going to do it better and we will do it, and we are not losing anything to anyone.
But there's no way we are losing it to any other system. Takoradi is the place to be for Christmas. Christmas is Takoradi. That is why so many different clubs here, more than all people of this nation, we are encouraging them to come here. When it comes to Christmas, it's Takoradi.
Amanfo community, a suburb of Takoradi, is where most of the masquerading groups are headed. We are here to speak to one of the founding fathers of Uncle's Club, popularly known as Uncle Sekum, and he tells me it's been a long journey for the first and original Uncle's masquerading.
Uncle's was formed in Takoradi from the people from Gobadu, Sopon. They bought it here 1956. Those who bought that club here, yeah, best money. That's why I'm saying the Uncle's one was stamped from Achifogobado, from the those that best man when I mentioned their name first. Then Uncle itself means that I have to let you know the reason of Uncle. It means that if you go to Harbor, before a ship can burn, you have an anchor. With the road that anchor will be. So that anchor that goes down, that's how they know the anchors.
After the birth of holy cities, several other groups such as Tumus, Sonato, Crunch, Millionaires, Cosmos, New York City, and Latter-day Saints US, Oshawakumim, and several other groups have emerged mostly from anchors. Some communities also decided to keep their youth, hence forming their own clubs. The masquerade groups march from the various convergent points, exhibiting their unique dancing skills as they march along. Usually, their marching reaches a crescendo at Amanfo, where the bragging rights are won. But this year, there is a change. Here is originator of the fancy carnival, Mr. Wilson Atta.
It's been pretty difficult to get them to raise their act. Fortunately, this year, we had MTN Twin City Festival, which involved masquerade performances here. So we were able to upgrade their performances, and we made sure that what they did there, they are going to do it here. That's why we moved to a bigger space. Now you realize that they stop at a point so that they have wide area to perform, and we are giving them a little bit more time to perform, and that's the magic.
From Oaks to Tumus, Sonato to Panya, Oshawakumim to the very Elicit Supreme, they all dazzle their impressive dancing skills while making time to give a brief information about the design of the address for the year and its symbolism.
It's amazing that every group has got their addresses all sold out. People are from all over the place, from Kumasi, Accra, Tema, all over the place are here. So there's no way Tema can upset Takoradi. It will never happen. We will not allow it to happen. It will never happen. Just like Easter is for Ko, Christmas is for Tag.
So you still keep the bragging rights?
We have it. It's not a matter of keeping it. They haven't come anywhere near it.
The fun and excitement is all centered, especially on the bandsmen, who are to provide solid brass band music and tunes to the members and public. They are supposed to do rendition of every hit song for the particular season. emergence of technology and modernization in the game dealt a big blow to the Anchors Club, who are no doubt the forefathers. Back at Uncle Sekum's residence, he insists that they are still in the game, though he admits they have been down, but they are up and especially becoming a force to reckon with, which got them the Tanjal, Pinyin Zipinyin, Anchors, Extra O.
That time, Joshua that street was not untied. That was where we said our meeting. We said that we don't for simply at that time, a woman can never enter that tree unless you are a man. One of the days, that's why we use that name. Those work for simply.
There is always the perception that masquerading is the preserve of truants and miscreants in the society.
I am a management consultant. And there are people who are teachers, there are lawyers. The Honorable Regional Minister has been doing this for several years. So it is not for illiterates. It is not for the downtrodden. It is for everybody in Secondary Takoradi.
Oh yes, baby remove Mpwa until the 25th and New Year Watadi. The Western Regional Minister Kobina Ochrida Komensa can sit quietly. But can the Western region maintain the patent right to fancy carnival now that Tema and Cape Coast are doing same?
You know that this is
the original minister. What's your pass and tell that?
It's official. Christmas definitely has to be in Takoradi. And that's how we wrap up today's edition of The Pulse here on the Joy News channel, your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Another edition comes your way same time. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Everything you need to know right there on myjoyonline.com. I am Meme Fapau. Enjoy the rest of the evening.